Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today is season 5, episode 15, and I have my buddy Will Bennett. Is it Bennett? Bennett, right? Will
Bennett, yeah.
Bennett. Okay. Will Bennett's on the show. Will, we've known each other through the interwebs a little bit. We talk here and there on Instagram, and I feel like I know you, but I want to really get to know you today.
I'm into it.
And hear your story and everything. So thanks for making some time. I know you're a busy dude, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. I've been looking forward to it for a while. It feels like we set this up ages ago.
Dude, it's crazy. I kind of have to do that now because when I'm dealing with like, is Tim Pierce available and is this person available? And it's like, how do I mash this all together? I have to kind of do it that way. I'm already booking. Yeah, I'm already booking. I'm like already booked through January. So this ends. You're like the 4th to last episode of this season. And then we'll start back up like mid-January, and I already have that all booked. So I'm just like, ugh. People don't realize how much of a hustle it always is for anything through YouTube or through Instagram doing stuff that you do. It's like, it's a hustle, man. We'll talk about that. But Will, what's your earliest musical memory, buddy?
Earliest musical memory. I should find video and make a reel of it, but I have a lot of video of me as a kid just jamming out to Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson songs as a kid. My mom was really big into country music.
Okay.
And I would like stand on the table in my living room and make everyone watch my concert.
Of course. Where
I just strum a guitar that I didn't know how to play in my cowboy hat and diaper.
That's pretty adorable.
Yeah. That's why I always want to perform.
Yeah. And are you gigging now again, or like, is it, I mean, it's still slow here in Baltimore for me. I haven't gotten really hardcore back to it, but like, what's going on with you with that stuff?
I stopped pre-pandemic. I was in a band that was having a lot of drama and kind of walked away from it. Did a couple of gigs with them kind of again right at the end of 2019, and then everything shut down. And I don't know. I don't see it in my future anytime soon.
Right. It's kind of nice, like when that happened, to not be out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, like playing music until 2 a.m, because that's talk about another hustle, man. It's just a grind, you know?
Yeah, I did that for a long time, and it was kind of nice to not be loading gear and trying to keep the dog quiet at 2 a.m. when you're loading in and not waking everybody up.
Yeah. Definitely, dude. There was this one time when we lived we live out in the country now, but like we lived in this townhome community, and the house that we were in, this is such a weird situation, but the house we were renting was like one family removed from my parents. Like my dad knew this guy's parents, whatever it is, and they moved to Malaysia. So when we moved home from Boston, we moved right into this. So it was great because we just moved right into this awesome little community outside of Baltimore. But the parents of those people lived like across the alleyway behind.
Okay.
So like I remember the first time I came home at 2:30 in the morning or something and bringing my stuff in. I don't know what was going on, that they heard me because I'm quiet as a mouse, but they like yelled and were like, hey, and then they realized it was me and like, oh, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be happening all the time. Sorry. So
oh, yeah. I remember we lived in a condo building, and it was always playing the game of like, how safe is my parking garage? Because I don't feel like it tonight. Like,
I know, dude. I know.
Like, bring the guitars in, leave the pedal board. Like, I'm only doing one trip tonight. Whatever can come with me, the rest I'm chancing. Like, hopefully insurance covers it.
Dude, I know. That's the biggest thing, dude. It's like that was the priority of this house when we moved here. I told my wife, we have to have a garage. I want a garage that I can pull into, shut it, go in and go to sleep.
Call it a night.
Period.
I have that now, and I'm not gigging. Maybe I need to just experience that.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The next morning kind of sucks because you still got to do it, but whatever. All right. So Garth Brooks, diapers, cowboy hat, got that. Check. From there, though, like, how was that nurtured in you, like throughout your youth?
You know what? It's like in memory, there's like a weird gap where it was like that was always a thing, and then I never really got into playing any. I never played much as a kid. It wasn't until I was maybe 13 or 14 when had a teacher at school. It wasn't even a guitar class or a music school, but it was just like a teacher that played guitar and wanted to do a little guitar club kind of after school for the kids that were interested. Got into it there, and then I remember getting really heavy into kind of all the grunge stuff, and like, I need to learn how to play this stuff. I need to know, and then from there it just took over. That was kind of right from 13 to now.
Okay, so
that
what?
Right in between.
So my world here in grunge is in my heart. It's like tattooed into my heart. So like, where did you enter, and then like what year did you find it, and who did you find first?
So it was like past its prime when I got into it. It would have been, I don't know, that would have been early or late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
But it was like through my dad. My dad's always been very current with his music. So I remember he had like all the classics in his CD rack. And I remember, I think Nevermind was like, Nirvana was probably one of the first ones for me. Like that was like, oh man. And I was absolutely obsessed with Cobain after. Like I needed all the pedals. My first guitar I saved up and bought was a Jag Stang. Like that was my
nice
thing. And then you just kind of moved your way through the cabinet. So then it was Pearl Jam, and then it was Alice in Chains, and it was just all of it. And it was cool that he had it because it really kind of shaped a lot of my playing, and I still listen to all that stuff all the time.
Yeah, me too. It's crazy how like accessible Nevermind is as a budding guitarist.
Yeah.
In terms of like, once you can get that grip of playing a power chord in your hands, it's like, lights out kind of thing. Like you can just sit for hours as a kid. And I mean, I didn't have any slowdown software. I mean, it was tapes. Was like straight up rewinding tapes. I mean, I think I still have my copy of Nevermind, and it's now because it's just so much rewinding,
I had a VHS I remember buying that was like Guitar Method in the style of Nirvana.
Oh God.
And I can't remember who the instructor was, but he was clearly a hair metal guy who was very bitter that this ruined him.
That's so great.
And he's got like the Floyd Rose on his guitar, and he's showing you these power chord songs, and he's just so angry.
I gotta look see
it up and find it.
Yeah, we need to find that. I want to see clips of that.
Yeah,
because it's weird because, I mean, you can tell me how you feel about this too, but like the accessibility of Nevermind, and then for me, it started there too for me because, Smells Like Teen Spirit when in 91 or whatever was all over the radio. That's all you could hear. I mean, Jeremy wasn't really doing anything, at the time. So I wasn't super hip to Pearl Jam as much in the very beginning. But well, no, that's a lie. I was extremely hip. But I couldn't play that stuff because the difference between those, I feel like, and I say this all the time, but when you listen to like Nirvana and then you listen to Pearl Jam had this level of sophistication that as a guitarist that it wasn't accessible as Nirvana was.
Yeah.
Like I could play Lounge Act and get through it, but I couldn't play like what's going on in a live. I don't know.
Yeah, it always struck me like Nirvana was more of a song band and Pearl Jam was like a guitar band.
Yeah. And like great guitarists too. Like people downplay that all the time, but like if you really take a look at Stone just individually, like if you take a look at Stone Gossard and what he did as in his early 20s, he wrote all these great songs. And like in alternate tunings and like experimenting with the instrument, like, dude, what was going on there? I would have loved to have, if I had a DeLorean, I would go to Seattle in 1990 and
just fly on the wall for some of those sessions.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And then if you go to Alice in Chains, there is a level of sophistication there too, with every record, but especially when you get to Dirt. My favorite moment on Dirt is how it resolved. The end of Down in a Hole resolves to the major chord, the very end. It makes me laugh every time. But there is a level of sophistication with that band too. So I don't know what your experience was as you kind of traversed those bands.
Yeah, it's weird. I know for Alice in Chains, my intro was unplugged.
Yeah.
Which was, I guess, I don't know if that was a weird way to get in them or not, but it felt weird when I listened to the actual like albums where I was like, whoa. But I remember I still want a Guild acoustic just because of that.
Yeah.
And just like their harmonies are so good.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was awesome. And yeah, it was just kind of that. I think Soundgarden was probably the last one, and now they're probably one of my favorites. But they were one of the ones I got into last, right? Like didn't like certain things, and
Yeah. It's weird if you start off and the first thing you hear is Louder Than Love. It's like it's a punk album almost, But if you jump forward to like Super Unknown, you're like, wow, these well-crafted songs and
I think that was my intro for them. I'm pretty sure. Like I can like still picture my dad's like CD rack, and Super Unknown I think was the only one he had.
It's a great album, man.
Oh, amazing.
That record, and I'm gonna sound like such a noob, but like if you listen to that record with headphones, it's worth it. Like I often work out listening to that music, and there's so much going on that you just can't pick up through a stereo. Like there's, it's just like in your brain that way. But like that record, and I feel like even like I still love Bad Motorfinger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff on that record, and talk about another level of sophistication above these other bands.
Yeah.
When you hear people, it's like prog rock stuff, comparatively speaking, heavy prog rock.
The thing that blew my mind was like realizing that Chris was playing most of those riffs too.
Yeah, and singing his ass off.
In my head, it was like, oh yeah, he's the singer of Soundgarden. He's the singer of Soundgarden.
Yeah,
and then I saw them live, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Dude, a powerhouse band. I mean, it's such a shame. Oh, God, it's like it kills me to like think of all the people that we lost. That I'm like, and as guitarists, a lot of us wonder what would Jimmy be doing now if he was still alive, or Stevie. But like, I often think about like what would like Alice in Chains be doing now, like differently, or what would Blind Melon? Like, I wonder what would have happened if Shannon wouldn't have left us too early. Because I loved Blind Melon. I thought they were on the outskirts of the whole scene that was happening, much like the Spin Doctors. They had this like jammy, funky bluesy vibe thing. I'm like, what would they be doing now? Like, what records would they put in?
They were one I never got too into. I should. The singer in the band I was in was obsessed.
Oh, really?
He actually has, like, he bought a guitar off eBay from the guitar player of that band. Like, that was his main strat that we were playing when we were in bands.
Oh, that's cool.
And we actually, the last record I did, we had their guitar player play a guitar solo on it too.
Really?
They're like, oh, Chris Thorne's doing a guitar solo on the record. And I was like, who's that? Oh, cool.
He's like the maestro of that band. And he's a killing producer too.
Dude, the guitar solo on the track he put together was awesome.
That's nuts. That's awesome, dude. I didn't know that. That's crazy. You should definitely listen to them. You should. I usually tell people listen to Soup first, because I think the first record, like the B Girl on the front, it's a great album, but like Soup is just this masterpiece from start to finish.
Yeah, I think that's probably got to go on my my driving rotation.
Do it, man. Do it.
Give it a go.
Speaking of other records, okay, so you hear these tunes, you hear Nirvana, you start getting into that, you start working on your chops. Where does it go from there? Because if we're talking late 90s, early 2000s, the popular music market kind of, guitar wise at least. So.
My next, I found throughout time, I get very obsessed with usually a band, and it's all I'll listen to until I'm on to the next thing, and then sometimes I never go back to the other band. But so for me, it was like Nirvana got me into playing and wanting to play guitar, and then it was the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay,
I remember Blood Sugar Sex Magic, because to me it was like Nirvana got me into playing guitar and power chords, and that was cool. And then Frusciante kind of opened up like, oh, you can do more. Like, there's more to this than just bashing away power chords. Not that I've gotten far past that, but I could, thanks to knowing that.
Yeah. What do you tell me a little bit about Frusciante and like why you love his playing so much? Because I have my own thoughts on it, but I want to hear what you had to say.
To me, it was just like these single note riffs. Like, it didn't have to be big. It just had to fit the song really well. Like, the amount of songs you listen to where it's just a good single note lead, or just single notes carrying a tune. It's awesome. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You let the weight stay on Flea and Chad. You really, you don't have to do much more.
Yeah. Just over there. And like, even just some of the technique too. Like, I remember trying to learn like Can't Stop, like that, that riff, and I'm plucking away at it. I'm figuring it out. And I remember watching like Live at Slane Castle, and he's just spinning, doing 360s full strumming. I'm like, what the hell? like you can strum and hit single notes. What? It just opened up so much that you didn't think about, because it was kind of the same thing. I think I started learning a bit before YouTube, so I never had that as a resource. So it was kind of an in between. Like you could find some tabs, but that's not going to show you technique. You know, I was buying concert DVDs and learning stuff that way. And yeah, seeing that kind of his playing was just very eye opening.
Yeah, he has a really wonderful sense of harmony too. Like not only like singing, but like I mostly mean like his guitar playing. Like he finds the best ways to complement whatever the bass line is, you know, whatever's going on. I feel like he finds a way to complement what Anthony's going to be singing and everything in the most minimalistic way, like you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of younger guitar players don't realize, like, you don't have to play the root, third, and the fifth. Sometimes all you have to do is play the root and the third, or just the third, you know? Like, it doesn't, if you really want to sink deep into whatever that harmony is at that time, like, it doesn't need to be a full bar chord, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when you're in funk music. I mean, let's be real about that. I mean, there's not much, doesn't get much better. I mean, he's carrying the P-Funk torch in a way, you know? It's so cool. All right, so then from there, Chili Peppers, where does that lead?
I think after Chili Peppers, I had a big Beatles phase. That was when you know, when I was younger, I heard Beatles and was like, oh, yeah, whatever, cheesy pop songs. And then like heard Eleanor Rigby and was like, oh, cool. Bought Sgt. Pepper's, Revolver, and that's a whole era. And then I think guitar-wise, the next big one for me is like Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, okay.
Like they're one of my favorite bands. I don't even know how to explain a lot of what he does, but it all just sounds like wrong, but right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
what record? Songs for the Deaf? Was that the first one that hit you?
Yeah, that was probably the first. I think I saw them again after that came out. So like I think Lullabies to Paralyze was the first record that was current when I saw them. But yeah, I got into all of it at once. Like I was just in and just obsessed.
Nice.
And still am. They're still one of my favorite bands. I think I've seen them like 8 or 9 times.
Did you go backwards and listen to Caius and all that stuff? Like,
okay,
yeah. I never did that. I know of that band and I've heard like a couple things, but I never went back. What's the difference? Like, is it still Josh's voice?
Not as much. No. I don't know.
Okay.
More just the playing.
Mm-hmm.
They were one, to be honest, I never got super into. Like I like a lot of the songs, but I couldn't sit and name one right now. I didn't get as deep into that as I did the Queens of the Stone Age stuff.
Right. Okay. All right. So then you keep moving forward, and then what's going on guitar wise at that time? Like, what are you doing? Are you like tone searching? Are you working heavy on specific things in terms of improving your skills? Like, what's going on there?
I gave up improving pretty quick.
Okay. Explain that. You can't just say that.
So I would, you know, when did I start playing in bands? Maybe 13, 14 years old, about 14, 15. And I got to a spot with my friends where I was like, I can play power chords and I'm pretty comfortable with this minor pentatonic in like 3 of the 5 positions. Let's start a band. Right. Like who needs to sit here and practice? I know this stuff. We can just write songs now.
Yeah.
And that is probably still going on too long. Like I've never put as much effort into the playing as I should, because I've always been like a tone and a sound guy.
That makes sense.
Like, yeah, I find I appreciate the sound more than I do like the technical aspect of what you're playing.
Did you, from a very earlier on kind of part of your guitar career, did you always do that? Like, because you're really great at matching tones and doing that stuff for your Instagram channel and everything. So like, is that like your bread and butter? You love diving deep? Like, could you spend hours just like trying to match that tone on a record?
Yeah, I'll tweak all day. And I've always been that way since I started playing. I remember getting like my first pedal was a DoD grunge because it was like, well, obviously that's what I need.
Yeah.
Come on, Grandpa, I need this DoD grunge.
Nice.
And then from there, it's just been like obsessed. I didn't get my driver's license till I was like 19 because the test was $120. I could buy used pedals for that. Like,
priorities.
I'm gonna buy pedals and take the bus.
Right, man. That's dedication. That is dedication. So you got into the tone stuff, the tone quest pretty early then, huh?
Yeah, right away.
Wow. Okay. Because that didn't even hit me till I was in my 30s.
Yeah, no, I've been obsessed with the gear side of things right since I started playing.
How describe your trajectory there, because if you think about early on, like from that first DoD pedal, like how much things have evolved, even from, let's just kind of stark contrast DoD to the automatone. There is a
How far we've come.
yeah. So like, what's the stuff that you like your favorite moments throughout from then to then, like that you're like, wow, what a discovery, what a great piece of gear. Like, can you think of specific moments?
I know one of the big ones for me was the first time I realized that if your amp has a drive channel, it's usually better than the pedal you're plugging into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a long time, like after my first amp was like one of the solid state Fender Princeton DSP kind of things.
Right.
But after that, I would just rent gear a lot. Like our local chain would do like half price rentals once a month, and you'd just go and get oh man, I was taking Mesa Boogie Nomads,
Oh yeah.
JCM 2000s. But I would get home and I'd run into the clean channel of the DSL and I'd plug in my DoD Grunge or I went from a DoD Grunge to a Boss DS2 because again, Cobain and Frusciante, I needed to have that.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, my neighbor, I saw him in a guitar store with this amp head, no name on it. I go, what's this? And he goes, oh, I built it. It's a Soldano clone. I was like, well, I got to try that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, you don't need distortion pedals. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Amp gain, baby. Like,
Was
and that's
that
like
like
a weird breakthrough, but I just assumed you needed the pedals with it. That's better.
yeah. Was that an accident where you like, what's this button do? And then you're like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. He was just like, check this out. I was like, oh my God. So that was like the first amp I bought after I had him build me one.
How many watts was that?
I did a 50 watt.
Okay.
Yeah, he was doing 100s and actually I had him build me 100, and he built like 5 or 6 of them, and I got the lemon.
Oh,
where you'd be having band practice and you'd just be like, and you'd look back and the tubes would just be the brightest red you've ever seen, and then you just hear it shut down and turn off. You'd be like, so you'd walk down the street lugging the amp like, hey Rob, happened again. And he'd be like, what the hell? So I'd call him every time I had a gig, and he would send me with like 2 others just in case. Man. And then eventually he took it back and gave me a 50 watt, and it was rock solid. Never had an issue. But
yeah, that's the worst, dude. I had an amp, and we'll not name the name of the company because it's a big company, but I had an amp that I bought 2013 or 12, and I just had to keep sending it back to the guy. Because it just every time he's like, I think it's the V1 slot. It's that tube. It just keeps something's up. I'll fix it. Sends it back. It's good. Worked for one gig. Then I took it to a gig and it just died in the middle of the gig. I was just like, all right, that's it. I want my money back. Like,
yeah, that's so disheartening, like especially on stage.
Yeah, no, it was a bummer because I really, when it was working, I really liked it.
Yeah,
but it's just like, it wasn't a 2-rock. I'll say that much. Because those have been great. Let's take a quick second. We got a couple people in here. I want to say hello. Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
There you go.
Hey,
40
Philip.
watt.
What's up?
Buddy's in here chilling.
Yeah, buddy.
And Chris hit me up earlier and he was like, I'm so pissed I'm not going to be able to see you in Will tonight. I'm going to be on a plane. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I hope you're doing something fun, man. You know what the heck?
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome. First rig though, so like when you first started the band, because the Soldano clone I'm gathering came a little bit later than that first band.
No, that was
really okay.
Yeah, I went hard right away.
Dang,
that was like my first gigging rig. It was before I had the Soldano head. I had a cab before I even owned an amp head because I got a really good deal on a Randall, and it was in a local music store, and I guess they said the forklift dinged it when they got it in. So it was just a crack in the wood right next, like right on the front of it. You couldn't see it. It was still covered with the Tolex. So it was a 212 with a 15.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it was like my TV stand in my bedroom for like 6 months before I could actually afford an amp head for it. But that was the first like gigging rig that I owned.
Dude, that's crazy. So hold
Yeah.
on. So you had a 212 cab and a 115?
It was all one cab. It was like the size of a 412.
How heavy was that?
It was pretty heavy.
Good God, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm sure it sounded immense when you plugged it
Oh,
in, but
yeah. And I was like rolling to my high school talent show with this rig. It was,
these kids didn't know what hit them, man.
oh yeah, dude in front of me's got his little PV Rage with an SM58 in front of it. I'm like, I got this. Like,
Oh God, that's crazy, dude.
that's the thing. That's like, it's always been the tone for me. Was always that chase has always been.
And did you have a nice Boss or SKB pedal board on the floor?
I had. There's a Canadian company. I don't know if they're still around now. They're called Stage Master.
Okay.
And they just made like just plain, your pretty generic road cases.
Yeah.
But they had a line of pedal boards you could buy at any of our like Long and McQuaid music stores.
Right.
So it was just, a little like 24 by whatever, just foam on the bottom of a road case.
Yeah.
It was legit.
That's pretty fly. I mean, that's what it was, man. Like, you remember how there was those SKB pedal boards that were like carpet, and then they had the power source. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had one of those. I mean, that thing was in and out of a van for years, and it was fine. It worked fine. So good on you, SKB. But still, I mean, like comparative to today, like we're in the middle of this arc, right? That we're talking about. But like, so when you get deeper into gear, and like obviously when the pandemic hit, like we all kind of turned to doing something because we were like, what am I gonna do for an artistic outlet?
Yeah.
But like you were already there. You were already like, this is perfect. I'm thriving in this universe. Like,
yeah, I mean, pedals are a different thing because that's kind of blown up since the demo thing. But guitar wise, I had most of the gear. I had the amp. I had a lot of the pedals all before it kicked off. Like, it was just obsession.
Yeah. What's the current amp? Like, what's your current go-to amp that you're using?
Still a Benson Monarch Reverb.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I bought that right before the pandemic hit, like January 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of, they announced they were going to stop doing dealer orders and go to the whole wait list direct thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the Canadian dealer had just got a shipment in when they announced this. So I was just like, send it. Like, Dang. He had a good return policy, so I was pretty safe. He had like 45 days. So I knew I could just get it. And if it wasn't great, I could go back.
Yeah.
Or they were hard to get, so you could probably flip it and make some money. But it's amazing. I had 2 other amps at the time, and I've sold them both since.
Okay.
It's
so are you just down to the 1 amp now? Nice.
Yeah, I have been for over a year now, about a year and a bit.
Yeah.
I have another Benson here that I've been borrowing and storing for a coworker of mine for a while, but still the Monarch I use for all the demos. And
yeah, it sounds awesome. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about Benson's amps and whatnot. I mean, I've never played through one, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, they're just straightforward, good tone. Like that's been a whole nother like journey for me, going from like I needed 3 and 4 channel amps, now I'm down to like 15 watts with a volume and a tone control, and I'm happier than ever. Like,
right. So now you can get it set to where it's breaking up a little bit and then punch it with your pedals. I guess is what.
Yeah, exactly. I just keep it. I don't think the setting on that amp's changed in the last 2 years.
Nice.
Like, unless I was doing a video specifically to show off a change on it, it's just been, volume between 3 and 4, tone at 7. And it just lives there.
Man, that's when you found your kind of lifer amp.
Oh yeah,
you don't have to touch it.
It was built on my birthday, so I remember getting it. My wife was like, "Well, you're gonna send it back if you don't like it." And I was like, "Yeah, we'll see." And I opened it up, and the serial number is like the production date, and I was like, "It's built on my birthday. It's not going anywhere." Like, yeah, that's mine now.
That's pretty awesome, man. So when everything happened, like, did you make a conscious decision that you were going to start trying to do something with social media and music, or was it kind of like just goofing off? Like, that's what I did. I started goofing off and, just posting because it was cathartic. Like, how did it happen for you?
I'd say the first bit, like 2020 was more just me just having fun. because like all the 2020 stuff is just pictures. I wasn't really trying to do any work from it. It was just I got into photography like the year before, so I'd be hanging out playing guitar and look over and be like, oh, the light looks kind of nice right now. Let's take a picture and I'll post it. And that kind of started picking up. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, that picture got 1,000 likes. That's kind of cool. And,
Yeah.
you know, just start seeing like different accounts or some artist liking pictures of my guitars. I'm like, yeah, cool. That's cool. Look at this. Some guy with a blue check liked it.
I mean,
then
oh, keep going, Will. No, keep going.
I was going to say it became kind of the advertising curtain got pulled back towards the end of the year where because I started chatting with guys like you and, Buddy, Edge of Breakup, all these guys. And all of a sudden a pedal would come out and 7 of the guys I chat with had it in time to make a video. And it's like, wait a second, I'm being advertised to.
Right.
There's a way to get stuff here. And I'd like to try it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, the first time I got a pedal for free, and I don't get that many for free, but like when I do, my wife's like, your inner child is so happy right now. Like, this is everything you ever dreamed of,
It is. I remember playing at a band, wishing some company would sponsor us and send us stuff, and
yeah.
And now I'm just sitting at home and getting it. Like I don't have to load gear. Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, and it's cool. Like a lot of people, somebody posted something on Instagram one day saying like, hey, guitar YouTubers, do you ever review a product that you don't like? And I sent a message and I was like, yeah, but I just didn't post it. I sent the pedal back to the company because I was like, I can't do this. It's just not going to look good for you. And I don't, it's just not jiving with me. Maybe somebody else, but not me,
And that's where it's tough because there is that whole like I don't consider what I'm doing reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm not telling anyone if something's good or not. I mean, we can have a chat about it and I'll be candid, but for the majority of the stuff, here's how it sounds with my setup. If that's appealing to you, look into it further. If it's not, then it's not. There's stuff I've played where I probably wouldn't buy it, but I try not to have anything in that I like absolutely wouldn't touch myself.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same way. And if I've even sold stuff that I'm like, this is great and I love it, but I'm not going to use it because I have so many other things.
Well, and that's that's a huge part of it because at some point you become a warehouse. Like right now I'm looking like, here, if we can turn this, I look like I've got a mom and pop music store over here. Like like I have a better inventory than some stores in town.
That's funny. That's awesome.
You can only play so much of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And how crazy are we? We get in our own heads, and how often do we change our pedal boards around? Like, it's just a constant flow. And I don't know about you. I mean, you can tell me, but like, I want to have nothing but fuzz pedals on my pedal board, but that's stupid. Like, because all my friends who make them, I love them all.
Yeah,
like it's so
and that's where it's tough. I see. I don't even have a board anymore. I think I'm going on probably a year or so with no pedal board. And that's more because I don't have the time to sit and play.
Yeah.
Like I want to do another one just for me to sit and play guitar and enjoy. But I just don't have that time. Anytime I have to sit and play now, it's because I'm working on something specific. So I just pop, whatever 3 pedals in the queue on the desk and write and play and then move on.
So then what is because you get exposed to all these products, like right now, if you did have 25 minutes to sit and just play guitar and you walked into that room, what guitar are you grabbing and what one pedal are you just like, I love this. I just want to hear this.
A lot of times pedal wise, that's like the Lightspeed for me.
Yep.
That's just so good.
Yeah, it is.
That's just that kind of sound. The preamp Mark II, like the Automatone, I go to that a lot. Those 2 are always like my main drive pedals. If I just want to sit and mess around, I grab those. Even together. I like them together too.
The Lightspeed plays well with everything.
Yeah. That was one of those pedals where before I got into demos, I was, attempting most of the time to be a responsible, smart consumer. So I had lots of other light overdrives. I didn't need a Lightspeed. As much as I wanted to try one, I couldn't really find a reason for me to spend the money and try one.
Mm-hmm.
I had other stuff. And then when I got into all this and, Nick reached out and asked if I wanted to demo one, I said, yeah, give it a shot. And I remember, like, I think I live streamed it and I plugged into it and I went, oh, yeah, I wish I had this years ago.
Yep.
Because that would have been on a board, on records, on stage. Like, it would have been used all the time.
Yeah.
So good.
There's something really, really special about that circuit. It's just, it's not like anything else in that kind of range. And like super affordable.
Yeah.
His
stuff is kind of that, like, right at the cusp of boutique, and it's still a pretty reasonable price point.
Yeah. How do you like that Olympus?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Haven't had a ton of time with it yet. Like, that Isbell video I posted today was kind of the first where I was really getting the chance to sit with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like, because I've used their Mjolnir a lot.
Yeah, me too.
So it's like in that ballpark, but the mids are a little different. It's cool. Do you play Olympus?
I don't. I wanted to try one. I mean, I've been a fan of Zach's for years now.
Yeah.
But like, I had the Mjolnir. I sold it actually because I needed some money at the time to get something else. But I had a real Klon that I sold in 2015 for $1,500, and I bought it for $299 in 2002 or something like that.
Wow.
From Bill. And there's days when I regret it, but then there's other days when I'm like, dude, shut up, man. It's just an overdrive pedal. Like,
it's one of those ones I always like. I was saying that to someone today on my DMs. I would love to go back to when I thought they were overpriced at $1,000.
Right. Yeah.
Just go grab a couple.
Well, I mean, dude, there's so many. The Tumnus sounds exactly like it. That's why I sold it. I bought the Tumnus because I saw that video on TPS when they had like 5 different Klon clones. And I was like, that sounds exactly like the Klon. Let me buy one and I'll A/B it with mine and I'll see. And I did, and it sounded exactly the same. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sell this and get a server.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had a buddy that messaged me, lived nearby, and he brought one over last year, and I shot some videos with it. And we were A/Bing them with, I had set up 3 or 4 different clones and the original in my Boss switcher, and we were just bouncing back and forth. And we had like the $40 Wish thing, and it was in the ballpark. For $40, it was doing the thing. But you could tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you got into, like, I have the Wildwood Mjolnir.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like, it was fooling the guy who owned the Klon multiple times. Okay, yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Oh, that's the Klon. He'd be like, Mythos, baby.
That's the thing. All these people are like, it's funny because, Josh Scott is trolling the world hard on this. But like, there's this bit of wool that is just pulled, and it's the FOMO stuff that people get wrapped up into. I'm like, bro, like, get a Tumnus or get them Mjolnir. So they're the same.
That's the whole thing. I've been happy. Like, I've been able to avoid that for a lot of things. Like, I still manage to look at gear a lot as tools.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not like, vintage guitars don't really have that like appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've never like felt the need to chase that. Same with like really sought after pedals. If there's a clone that's going to get me in that ballpark, I'm more than happy.
Totally.
I think that saved me a lot of stress and worry and bank loans.
Oh, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, there's so many, the market's so flooded now, but there's so much great stuff too. Like, it's just like, there's like we were saying, you can't play it all. You can't, and not at one time. Like, you can swap stuff, but like, I mean, I've been thinking lately about selling my Automatone for a while. I was kind of like, it would be cool to get a MIDI switcher and really utilize that thing the way it should be utilized. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm afraid those faders are going to at one point just stop working, or it's like, what are your thoughts on the new Tone Master stuff? Like, do you feel like longevity will be there for that product, or do you think they're going to see issues? Like,
I don't know enough about how they're operating, but I guess my understanding is it's like full of like DSB chips for the preamps, and like, that I don't know, long term, that's scary. I don't think it's going to be a, 20 or 30-year product the way that a proper tube reissue would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
They sound good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could definitely see being worried, like, kind of down the road, and even just service, because the amount of amps, solid state stuff, it goes wrong, and there's not a lot to do. Like, when I worked retail for a long time, and like the Line 6 Bogner spider valves,
I remember those. Yeah.
really cool amp. We sold a ton of them, and then once they started going bad, you got to the point where they'd come in, you go, okay, well, enjoy your giant paperweight.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it's unfortunate, but it's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a bummer, man. Yeah. I mean, I think there's no substitute for a good tube amp anymore. I mean, I think I had a Kemper. Have you ever had a Kemper or anything around?
I haven't owned any of that stuff, but I've played them quite a bit.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, they sound great. Like, I didn't have any high gain amps, and I was doing music for film and TV, and I was like, I'm gonna get a Kemper.
Yeah.
So I can plug the bass right into it. I can get heavier gain stuff, and it sounded great. But at the end of the day, I was like, I just don't. I want a mic on a cabinet.
Yeah, there's a weird thing too, where I find just in the room, it's weird. Like, they sound like great recorded amps, but when you're playing them, you want the amp in the room vibe.
Yeah.
And it's tough to find that balance with them. But I'd be really tempted, I think, if I was gigging on a serious level, or even just if I was doing something like that, like film and TV, where you need a bunch of different sounds. Like, it's hard to beat it. My buddy's got the Axe Effects, and I've had that over at the house a few times, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Have you messed with the Stomp, with the HX Stomp stuff at all?
Not yet. I was supposed to get one of those, and I should send a follow-up email.
Yeah.
I want to check one out.
I've heard nothing but good things about those, even from friends around here that use them.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend who is the MD at his church, and that's all they have are HX Stomps for all the instruments that are going to be electrified. That's all HX Stomp, and he said it's amazing. Like, it just sounds, and for church stuff, like, obviously that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. There's something to be said about how far we're talking again about that arc from DS1 to HX Stomp. It's like, it's gotten better, man. It's gotten a lot better.
I mean, there's something to be said about having access to all of that, right? Like, I know when I did my live stream earlier in the year with James from Rune 5, and he was chatting, like, he's Axe Effects all the time now. That's the whole rig. It's just his Ernie Ball guitar into an Axe Effects, and that's stadium guitar tone.
So
and
cool,
I mean, that he's playing at a level where he could have whatever he wants on stage, and that's just that works.
Yeah. It's just, here somebody's chiming in. Just got the Stomp in his slice. Yeah, I'm Mike. I would love to play through one of those, just to, how sometimes when you play through some of that stuff, Will, it's like, how does it feel? This is the most lame guitar expression, but how does it feel under your fingers? And it's a thing, though. It really is. Like, it does make a difference to make you play a different way. And sometimes in the past, some of those products have been like the latency issues that existed, or whatever it is, it didn't track as well. That stuff was the bummer, but that seems non-existent now.
Yeah, I think we're past all that stage now.
Yeah.
Like, for a long time, I was like, oh, well, it's cool, but does it clean up the way my amp would? And now it's like, it actually cleans up better than my amp, so that's cool. Like,
damn. Yeah. I mean, it's, and then people are chiming in here. So, Aaron, I think you almost need to decide what kind of player you want to be. Someone with access to any tone at any time versus someone who knows what they like and won't deviate from it. Yep. That is 100% it. I think that if you know your lane, just like what we were talking about with earlier, is just like, if you know what you love, like the light speed, if that's your lane, man, stick with it. Just run with it. And once you get to know, half the battle is knowing your gear, I just played through. So that artificial blonde, the really freaking cool thing about that pedal is the EQ on it.
Oh yeah?
The EQ on that pedal it's one knob, and it is amazing. But what I found
was like a tilt kind of EQ, or they?
It's just one knob EQ. You can make it muddy or super bright, whatever, but like the sweep on it is amazing. And when I was playing last night with it, I was switching from my standard tuning to my open C, and I found like, oh, you know what's cool? I can just use this almost like an EQ pedal with a little taste of vibrato on it, like barely audible.
Yeah.
And it totally lifts that darkness of that open C, especially when you're on the neck pickup. That's like, it gets a little woofy sometimes when I'm playing low with fuzz and stuff. But if you have that EQ from that artificial blonde on, dude,
that pedal looks really cool.
It's rad. Now, here's the thing. Like, obviously, a lot of people are going to say, I don't need 2 vibrato pedals in one pedal, kind of thing. And I get that. But like last night, that discovery with just messing with that EQ was just, I was like, there's a whole different way. And I texted Josh. I was like, bro, I'm using it like this. And he was like, that's awesome because we love the EQ circuit in that. So that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch too much on it yet, but I think that's how like Madison said she was using it too, almost just very light, barely on for like her main tone, and then hit it when you need it for the other. Like, why wouldn't you want 2 vibratos? That's more than one. That's better.
Right.
It's simple math.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like the 1968 vibe, how you have those 2 channels so you can ramp up and whatever.
I used to be my favorite back in the day was the Empress Trem.
Oh yeah.
Being able to ramp between 2 trem modes. Every time I play a trem without that now, I'm like, ugh, cool.
Yeah. It makes sense, man. People should check it out. Yeah. All right, so we're running out of time. I wanted to ask you, because we're going to get into we just did current favorite gear, but so I want to ask you, hey, what is your favorite music documentary?
Oh. Favorite music documentary. I'm like drawing huge blanks right now.
Well,
I know I loved, and you'll know the name, and I'm blanking on it, but the Pearl Jam, was it Yield? Making Yield?
Oh, when they made Yield, it was Unified Theory, I think was the name of that. Did you see PJ20?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. See, all this stuff I'm blanking now. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the spot.
Well, so there's several obviously that we could talk about. I mean, and
you'll say them, I'll be like, oh yeah, but I'm like,
did you ever see Muscle Shoals?
No.
Watch that. Add
it to the list.
That is one of the most inspiring music documentaries I've ever seen in my life. That is, I put that right above PJ20. So I would check that out. Standing in the Shadows of Motown.
That I've seen.
That is kind of slow. It's kind of long and slow. But Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, that's gotta be watched. I'm just trying to think of ones I like.
What about biopics, Will?
Yeah, I'm down with biopics. Love me some Walk the Line.
Yeah.
I always love that. I haven't watched the Elvis movie yet. I know it's not quite a biopic, but
I haven't either.
I keep hearing mixed things. That's on my list. I'll get to that too soon.
Ray. Did you see Ray?
Yeah, Ray's amazing.
Ooh, so good. So good. They're supposed to be making a Jeff Buckley biopic.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It has been, cool. Yeah, it's been in the works. I think it's been planned since 2012 or 13 or something.
Just bouncing around the rights for it, I guess, and trying to.
Yeah, and they already cast Reeve Carney. You know who Reeve Carney is? So he is.
He's familiar.
You know Zane Carney, guitar player. He played in John Mayer's band for a little while.
Yes. Yeah.
So his brother is Reeve. Reeve and Zane were in a band called Carney. Funny enough.
Amazing.
Amazing band. Like, I would highly recommend people check out Carney's music, but like power pop rock kind of stuff. But they also were in together when Spider-Man on Broadway opened up, when Bono and Reeve was Spider-Man, was Peter Parker.
Oh, cool.
And then Reeve was in that show. He played Dorian Gray in Penny Dreadful, which was on like Showtime.
Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime. Yeah. So he's been doing Broadway stuff since, but he's a killing singer, and he kind of looks like Jeff Buckley, but he can sing just like Jeff. So it'll be cool once it's in there. He was on the
Yeah,
show actually. And he builds guitar pedals too. He has a company called Quarantine Effects that he
oh,
started
cool.
in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So you should check those out too. Yeah, man.
Biopic. I'll go walk hard. The story of Dewey Cox any day.
I know we didn't even get a chance to talk about Marvel. Is there anything you're excited about, like with the new stuff that's coming out for Marvel?
I am trying to find someone to pawn my child off to so I can go see Black Panther 2.
I know. It looks so good. It really does.
Like, yeah, I don't know how the theaters are in the States, but like our chain has like a Stars and Strollers showing once a week where they like the volumes aren't as loud. You're allowed, like you're encouraged to bring your kids. They have a change table set up. So I went. Awesome. We went and saw Thor: Love and Thunder when my son was like 6 weeks old. And I mean, it's a gamble because there's probably gonna be some kids crying, and you hope that your kid's well behaved, but you're not shamed if they're not.
Right.
But it was nice just to get out of the house, and the whole theater was like, I think there's only maybe like 6 or 7 other couples, but it was all just like new parents that were like, oh, just finally a couple hours to like unwind.
Yeah. I know. What did you think about Love and Thunder? Did you like it? Yeah, it's no Ragnarok, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, so I loved Ragnarok, and I think that my opinion is that they thought that it was a good movie because it was funny. So they went all in on the funny for Love and Thunder and left out the like great movie part of it.
Right. I agree. I mean, it's always Taika's always...
Like, have you read the God Butcher like storyline, like that run?
Not that run. No, I've read a lot of Thor, but I have not read that. Like the Dark Elf stuff is some of my favorite stuff.
The God Butcher run. I can't remember the name of the writer for it, but awesome. I was so excited when they announced they were doing it.
Yeah. I don't know why Marvel doesn't take more from the canon and make it into movies.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever read the Deadpool Dead Presidents series?
Not Dead Presidents, no.
There's a whole thing with like the necromancer and like he's like bringing dead presidents back to life. So it's basically all these zombies, and like S.H.I.E.L.D. hires Deadpool to take care of it and clean up the mess, and it's hilarious and awesome. And I don't know why they don't just like dive in and grab some of that stuff and use it. But if that next Deadpool movie is definitely going to have Hugh Jackman and Wolverine's going to be in it, it's going to be awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah, that'll be fun. It's happening. Like that's
what we hear. But I hope they're not trolling us and doing something silly, because Hugh is
so mean.
It would be, because Hugh is pretty emphatically like, I'm not playing Logan anymore. Like, so
that Disney money is. He said that when he was with Fox. This is Disney money now. Like,
that's true.
Downey Jr. said he didn't want to do Iron Man after like Civil War or something. So
it's true. That is true. I mean, you can't, dude. I had a hard time. I felt like I had like, deep depression after the last like Endgame. Like I was just like, it's over. Like my people, like the people that I love and the characters I love, it's over. But like, there's so much great stuff that's like, popping now. So I think it's gonna be fine. I mean, Kevin Feige seems like he's a pretty good person to have at the helm to like not screw things up.
I hope so. Yeah, there's been a couple things I haven't cared much for, but overall, I'm still having fun with it all.
What's your favorite?
I'm not as connected the way I am like before,
Yeah, I know. What is your favorite franchise of the different characters?
Individual movies, probably Captain America.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, realistically, only because Captain America 3 is basically an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
So they kind of cheated there, but it won me over. Winter Soldier's so good. I'm also a sucker for Spider-Man. I love all the Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah. Tom Holland's great too.
Yeah, I thought they nailed it. As another, he came in Civil War, and I was like, yes, this is the tone. This is what I want. He's fighting and quipping. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he plays that character just like how I feel he is in the comics. He really does. But Guardians, I feel like Guardians is probably, believe it or not, my favorite of the franchise.
Yeah.
And do you see there's like a holiday movie that's coming, or
yeah.
So I don't know what that's gonna be, but hopefully it's not as bad as the Star Wars holiday movie. We'll see what happens.
I've never seen that, so
piss poor. Did you watch any of Andor yet?
No, that's been so Star Wars for me. I'm not a diehard by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all the Mandalorian, Boba Fett as they were coming out, and then Andor. Like I want to see because I've heard. I feel like I'll probably like it the most because it doesn't seem as tied into trying to fit into stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I heard it's slow though.
It is. It is. I watched 3 episodes last night. I stayed up so late because my buddy was like, "You got to get through this episode." I'm like, "Dude, if someone says that to me one more time, I'm gonna punch you in the throat. You just got to get through like the 13th episode and then it's good." I'm like, "Dude, I don't have 13 hours."
I've had that with video games. I remember I'm not really big like RPGs. It's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember recording with this producer, and he was like, "Man, have you played Fallout 3?" And I was like, "I tried. I can't do it. I suck. It's not my thing." And he's like, "Let me tell you, man, you put in 100 hours, that game becomes pure heroin." I'm like, I want to just enjoy my life. I want to turn on a game for the hour that I have free and have a good time. I don't have 100 hours to grind to maybe enjoy this.
Right.
Crazy?
I should be spending 100 hours practicing guitar before I should be spending
No. That's crazy too. I can spend 100 hours comparing fuzz pedals and chaining delays into reverbs and seeing which order I like them in. Why would I mess with I know the pentatonic, Mark. Why would I try anything else?
You got to get out into your modes too, man.
I still don't know what a mode is. So,
well, that's another conversation.
Yeah, teach me
all
that.
Right. So, here's a
Aaron, yeah, last month, yeah,
we
amazing.
forgot about that. Good job, Aaron. All right, cool. Let's start up. So, I have a fun, what I think is a fun lightning round. We'll tell everybody where they can find your stuff too, in terms of social media accounts and YouTube and everything.
Yeah, almost all of the content is Instagram at William John Bennett III, William John Bennett III. That's where almost everything is. I have a YouTube channel, same tag, very much the same content, and I've let myself down in making more of that, but we'll get there.
Well, you do more. I would say you do a lot more on Instagram, right? That's more of your home base.
Yeah, way more.
Yeah. That's becoming the thing. I mean, let's be real. And now they're monetizing it and stuff, so it's crazy.
I shouldn't say problem, but my thing was my approach on Instagram did well and has taken off, and that's what people want when they're dealing with me. So there's only so much time in the week, so I don't end up with, if I want to keep up, I do 1 to 2 demos a week on Instagram. There's just no time when I'm burning those to sit and make a full YouTube video at the level that I would want to do one.
Totally, because you do amazing stuff on there, and the quality, the production quality and everything is fantastic. So
thank you. Yeah, so I try to make them a certain level, and to do both the way I'd want to do them is very tough. Like the last video I did, I think was at least for YouTube, was the Fender American Vintage launch. And that threw off my whole schedule for everything else because the time it takes.
Yeah. Man, you're a hardworking dude. So here's all Will's stuff too. So go ahead and check all those accounts out. Follow him, like him, love him, hug him, do all those things.
Love it. I base my self-worth on numbers, so please follow and like, or I'll be sad tonight.
It is weird. It's a currency today.
Sadly, it's true.
It is. We can't do that,
and it's hard to fight it, but it's a thing.
It is, but it also is funny too when you see a lot of people because there's room for everybody, but there's people that get so caught up in the numbers. I'm like, dude, comparison is the thief of joy. Do not go there. Just enjoy what you're doing, man.
Yeah, do your thing. And if it I tell everyone that's ask me how to get into that whole the whole demo thing. It's the number doesn't always matter. It definitely helps. You look at an account that does demos and you see a big number, you're going to be more inclined to think they're the real deal. But those numbers aren't always it. And a lot of times it's just good relationships and getting along with, brands, builders, and building it up that way.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I've lived my life by fooling people that I'm better than I am on the instrument because I can network. All right, here we go. All right, so 10 questions, this or that. Feel free to explain your answers if you'd like. You do not have to.
Okay.
Just burn right through them if you'd like. But people gave me crap about this, Will, about this first question, that it needs to go. But I don't think it needs to go. I'm going to say Lennon or McCartney.
I'm a McCartney guy.
Okay.
I think I like the pop songs. They just kept on going. It might have been different if we got Lennon for longer, but got to go McCartney. Band on the Run, baby.
Yeah.
Band on the Run.
Wings, dude, in general. People like sleep on Wings, and you shouldn't sleep on Wings, although they are fluffy. All right. What's the nomenclature? Ping pong or table tennis?
Ping pong.
Okay. All right. Marvel characters. Not as well known, but who would you prefer to be on a buddy cop team with? Nightcrawler or Gambit?
Nightcrawler. He could at least do cool stuff. Gambit's just throwing cards around like... Oh, you could kill time playing Goldfish or Blackjack or something with him. So, yeah, Gambit. Let's go Gambit. Change it up. I got like all the stakeouts and stuff. Probably more fun. Yeah. Card game to pass the time.
But then you also have all the jokes that you could pop on Nightcrawler, like Bamf. Like you can just make fun. What are you gonna Bamf over here? All right, Gladio or Antique?
I haven't played the Antique yet, so
you haven't. Okay.
No, I'm gonna go Gladio just out of familiarity.
Okay.
Antique looks fun. I said for a long time I was not a Tube Screamer guy, and I think I was just being ignorant because I've demoed like 2 now in the last couple months, and I like Tube Screamers, so I got to check out that Antique.
Okay. Hot tub or sauna?
Hot tub. Okay. Hot tub. Less men sitting around in towels and being naked.
Right. Okay. Goldfish or Cheez-Its for a snack?
Cheez-Its.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go that way.
All right. Slapback or a long delay?
Long delay. I just want to sit and space out. It makes me sound like I'm doing more than I am.
Okay. All right. Eggnog, gross or yes, please?
I'm going to go gross. Out of unfamiliarity. I don't think I've ever even bothered trying eggnog. So,
yeah. It's a little gross. It tastes like snot.
Yeah, that sounds gross to me.
Texture wise. Radiohead or Pink Floyd?
Oh. I'm going to show my age and go Radiohead because that to me I've connected more with than I have Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Not that I don't like Pink Floyd, but I don't know. OK Computer just hits me in the feels more than Pink Floyd does.
It's money. It's all money. All right. Last one. Hardest. Sometimes it's the easiest. If you could take one record and erase it from your memory. So like you've never heard it before, just so you could go back and listen to that album for the first time again. What record?
Sgt. Pepper's, baby.
Okay.
Tell me why. That was just a very big moment for me. And you know what? I still remember listening to it the first time. I was at my grandparents' house and I walked to the downtown music store and I bought it on CD. And I went back and I remember laying in bed and listening to it with my little cheap earbuds and my Discman. And just that opened up to me that an album could be more than just a bunch of songs. Like it just had this whole event to it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I'd like to experience that again.
Yeah. That's a good one. I don't know how many. I don't think I've heard that one more than one other time. Like so surprisingly, the most popular. What do you think the most popular response I've gotten has been?
A lot of guitar guys. So I want to say like a Jimi Hendrix. Are You Experienced, maybe?
You would think, or you would think a Beatles record, but people tend to say Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pink Floyd. And I've had piano players on who say Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side. That's another, like those are albums that I know and I love, but I've never just connected Pink Floyd that way. And they're a band I like, and the songs are great when I listen to them, but I never have that like connection to. Same with like Smashing Pumpkins. If you go to like the 90s stuff, love Smashing Pumpkins when I listen to a Smashing Pumpkins song, but I rarely ever am in the car and like, you know what? I need to listen to Gish right now.
Right.
Doesn't happen.
You kind of have to be like Pink Floyd is a band you have to be in a mood to sit
Yeah.
down and listen to. You know what I mean? Like I can't put on The Wall and be like cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Like, it just maybe some people can, but like for me, I can't do that. Like I have to be like in a focused music mode to do
Yeah, and
that.
I find honestly, I have those modes so few and far between these days. Like if my commute is only like 20 minutes, so I only ever get 4 songs into an album. So I'm not into any heavy listening. Half the time I'm just listening to Howard Stern anyway.
Uh, that's the best thing to be
So
listening to. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Um, BV, thank you so much for moderating. Per usual, Emilio's bringing out Gladio Antique double pedal. Want
I'm
to see
excited
how?
to try
Yeah,
that.
I wonder what. Wonder what
Do you
order.
do you do you have it yet? Have you?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I haven't. Emilio hasn't sent me anything since the antique. He told me he was going to send me the aquarium, and we
yeah,
never
me
got there.
too. That's
Yeah,
my Emilio's great dude. I love him, but that's been my experience of very like, yeah, we got to get you on the launch for that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I can't wait. I know what, I've actually haven't demoed a vibe. Let's do it.
you're right.
And then I see on Instagram like launching tomorrow our new vibe, and I was like, so I guess we're not doing that, huh? He's like, oh, I'll get it to you. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. Like I'm easy.
I think he's just so busy. I think his company grew way quicker than he
Oh,
thought was going to
oh, it's great
happen.
stuff, man. Like that.
Yeah,
That was another one. The Gladio was one that same kind of thing. Yeah, oh, yeah, we'll do a demo. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And a year later, we finally make it work, and I plug it. I'm like, damn it, it is really good. I was hoping I wouldn't like this as much, and
yeah.
damn it,
The
you're onto something.
Yeah, that the SC is hard to beat too, man. Like people
Yeah,
always ask me, like, should I get the dual Gladiator or the SC? I'm like, just get the SC. It's so good. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, just in my experience playing that, I think I would probably go that way myself. I'm really excited to see the SC antique combo. I feel like that is right up my alley, and I hope I get to check one out because
yeah,
that's rad. I heard really good things about the antique.
it's cool. I just actually took it off my board. I was messing around because I'm in the same mode right now. I'm like not really into tube screamers right this second.
Yeah,
Because that LPD 68 pedal is so awesome.
it's great stuff.
I just like I don't know. It's so simple. Like to me, it just immediately connected. I don't know what it was, but it loves my 335. It's
You've
just
got
like,
the bigger the deluxe on there, right?
yeah,
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 that's cool.
yeah. That boost on there is killing, man. It really sounds great. Like if I put like right now, I have the SC on the board before it, and I will put the SC on and I'll use that boost from the LPD, and it's like bam. It just like brings everything up. And then I love the fact that that has that like higher gain overdrive option where you can kind of do light gain or that heavier gain, almost like the Morning Glory.
Yeah,
How is that switch? Because it just like if you need just a little bit more, it'll give it to you. So it's just
yeah. I
I don't
haven't
know.
played. I had the standard, just the regular 68, and the tones are killer.
Oh, it's great. Have you ever played through like a plexi, like an actual plexi?
Uh I don't. You know what? I don't think I've played to like a proper. The proper ones. I think the close. Like I had a Friedman, like the JTM 40 for the Dirty Shirley there for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah,
In that realm, not a true plexi, but it definitely the 68 reminded me a lot of that amp.
yeah. Okay, okay. I haven't played any Friedman stuff, but every time I hear it, that amp in particular, it
It's
sounds awesome. So
it's awesome. That was one I walked into a music store. A buddy was buying a PRS amp, and I was just hanging around killing time with him.
mhm.
And I plugged into the Dirty Shirley, and I was like, "Oh man!" I went home and I sold my AC30, and then I came back. I managed to sell it the same afternoon,
Whoa.
which doesn't happen often. But I put it on Facebook, and one of my buddies was like, "I'll take it." And I was like, "Yes!" I drove back down with a Les Paul and sold the Les Paul, gave him the cash from the AC30, and brought the Friedman home. And that was my main amp for. I had that for 5 or 6 years before I got the Benson.
Dang. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, bit of a change up, but that was a really fun amp. If I, you
Yeah.
know what, I wish I could have kept it because it would have been fun to do a little more stereo stuff, but my kind of workflow and process didn't really jive with getting too complicated.
Yeah. Man. Well, Will, dude, I can let you get back to your evening. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna put this up on the board so you can check this out. And Find Will in all the places where all the kids hang out, all the cool kids.
Yeah, cool kids are Instagram or TikTok is from what I've heard.
Yeah, I'm not
It
doing that.
scares me.
I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that.
I do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see there. Like, don't bother going to my TikTok. It's the same as the Instagram. It's actually worse than my Instagram because I don't even bother posting. I forget to post half the stuff.
Okay. Yeah, Instagram's the place to be.
Don't
for
worry about
Will.
TikTok. Instagram is where I spend far too much of my day, according to my screen time reports.
Oh God, I know. I hate seeing those.
That's depressing.
Dude, Will, I wish we had way more time because I have so much more I could talk to you about. But dude, I really appreciate you making time.
Yeah,
and
dude. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
I'd love to chat gear all night. We could do it again sometime.
Oh, heck yeah, man. We can definitely do it again. Everybody.
When someone cool cancels out, just text me. I'm probably just hanging around anyway.
Hopefully that never happens. I've never had that happen.
That's good. Yeah, I want to get that. If someone cool couldn't do it, are you free?
Hey, buddy, remember when you said you would dig me out of this hole?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Well, yeah, we'll figure out to do it. Even if we should just do like a Instagram thing one night and just hang out and talk. That. Yeah. But everybody, find Will. He's a lovely human. Obviously, you can see that. He has a lot of great videos to check out, a lot of great gear. We can all get FOMO over. And
all the gear.
All the gear. All right, everybody. Take care of yourself. Mark. Yeah, buddy. Anytime, man. My pleasure. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. See you next time.